Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our celebration and our acknowledgement of the sacrifice which has been made by so many people against communism and for the cause of freedom and democracy. As Andrew mentioned, it was some 15 years ago we gathered here to dedicate the memorial to the more than 100 million victims of communism. And accepting the memorial for the American people, President George W. Bush said this: we the living have a solemn obligation to the victims to acknowledge their sacrifice and honor their memory. Since then, national leaders from around the world have come here to lay a wreath and offer a prayer. Ethnic groups from every continent have held rallies and candlelight ceremonies to their fallen brethren. Each June, we have been joined by the representatives of some 20 embassies and dozens of organizations for our roll call. Each June, we recommit ourselves to the words at the base of our memorial, to the freedom and independence of all captive peoples and nations. Each June brings us closer to that day when communism, as Andrew said, will be dumped on the ash heap of history and freedom will take its place in China, North Korea, Vietnam, Laos, and Cuba. Each June, we take a solemn vow that never again will we allow so evil a tyranny to enslave peoples and nations. Our ceremony this morning has a special meaning because of the war between Ukraine and Russia. And this war cannot be separated from the deadly legacy of Marxism-Leninism. Writing about 17th century Russia, a leading historian wrote the following telling words: the state swelled and the people shrank. The same is true of present-day Russia and its perpetual president, Vladimir Putin. We cannot understand Mr. Putin unless we understand that he was trained by the KGB, an essential instrument of the Bolshevik Revolution and Marxism-Leninism. Putin's invasion of Ukraine was inevitable in a sense, given his 16 formative years with the KGB. After all, for a Marxist, wars within nations and between nations is inevitable. Karl Marx himself taught that war